Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit.
Crossroads, life's tolls, life goes. I gotta win. W my lockdown. You can't rewind.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? This is your host, Sonya, with the Remember Who You Are 222 podcast. I have my guest, Danielle, here with us today. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on. Your video always pumps me up. I remember thinking it last time. I'm like, she's out here pushing a truck. Like, let's go. I was just thinking the same
yeah, I know. It's definitely, when I was in the military, I feel like I was known for like pushing myself past my limits and all that. So I like to kind of have that up there.
I do that more mentally, but I love that so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'm excited to have you on for the second time. I know the first time I was like just starting out, so I'm definitely excited to have you on the second time. Now that I have more views and subscribers as well. So just to introduce her a little bit for those of you that don't know, Danielle is a best-selling author. She's an international keynote speaker, the media's go-to expert on Jungian psychology. Her book Shadow Work became an international hit, and her brand new Shadow Work deck is already shaking up the self-help world. Featured everywhere from Oprah Daily to Shape Magazine, Danielle helps people face the parts of themselves they've been avoiding and turn those shadows into pure power. All right. So I know you might have talked about this a little bit on the last one, but I would definitely like you to just tell your story and like how you came into doing all the stuff that you do now.
Yeah. And it'd be really awkward if you go back and the story's totally different. So for those of you guys who have never heard of me before, seen my books or any of that stuff, or listened to the past podcast, I'm Danielle Massi, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist by trade, but I actually stopped working as a therapist when I was diagnosed with cancer the week of my 30th birthday. That diagnosis changed everything for me. At the time, I was not only a psychotherapist, I was also working as a professor at Penn State. And one of the things that I used to teach about was shadow work. So I was doing therapy sessions with clients, talking about shadows and going into traumas, but not doing shadow work. I was teaching about shadow work, but not doing actual shadow work. And when I had my diagnosis, I knew all the things I was supposed to be doing. So I did those. They didn't work. And I thought, maybe I should actually try that thing I've been talking about all this time. And I did. And shadow work completely changed my life. It made me heal from things I didn't think I could ever move past, let alone move past in such a short amount of time. And once I got to the other side of it, I went to my mentor who had taken me through all my shadow work stuff. And I said, teach me everything. I got to know everything. Started taking extra continuing ed courses through psychotherapy, reading every book available. My background's in cognitive neuroscience, so I wanted to know the neurology of it all until I got to the point where I was ready to share it with the world. So I started doing media and eventually landed book deals and shadow work decks. And that's how I got to where I am today.
Wow, that's definitely an amazing story, especially coming from being diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And then being able to get through that. So how did that go? Because I know you're saying you were able to get through it, but
it was horrible. And the cancer sucks. They don't just say that. And I would not wish it on my worst enemy. There's no one that I would ever want to experience cancer. But at the same time, I am really glad that it happened to me because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that super horrific period of my time. I know that we talk a lot about like dark night of the soul and having to go through heavy moments and darkness and trauma and all that stuff. But I am a firm believer that we don't have to hit rock bottom in order to find the ability and the resilience within ourselves to change. We can be inspired to change just because we feel like it. So that's how I try to live my life. I want people to know that they can at any moment just make a decision to do something different. It doesn't have to be cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, so something that's interesting because something I've always been interested in was the fact that, even before I kind of went into a spiritual awakening, I knew that the mind was a powerful thing and that the people were able to walk again, even though doctors said they couldn't because they believed they could. And so do you believe that the shadow work that you were doing and like really helped you heal?
Well, not only do I believe it, but the neuroscience backs it up. Everything that we think reprograms our brain's wiring. And this is one of those things that, I talk about this on the internet, but I do have a degree in psychology and cognitive neuroscience, but there's a lot of people who just use flashy terms like neural pathways and cognitive rewiring and rewire your patterns and all that stuff. But there is science to it. And there's a lot of amazing researchers who've been doing this work for decades who can show that when we believe something to be true and we use all aspects of the mind, we can feel it like it's tangible to us. We can experience the emotions that go with it. We have physical reactions to those moments, and then we can really pull those in and hold on to them as if they're happening to us now. It does change our brain's neural wiring. It breaks down old pathways through a process called synaptic pruning, and it gives us the ability to replace it through synaptogenesis, which is what we're doing when we're little. It's why our brains are like sponges from 0 to 7. But we can do that at any time. It's just easier when we're young because there's not as much stuff that needs to be broken down before new things can replace it. So yes, not only do I believe it, I've seen it in action.
Yeah, I love that. I wanted you to be able to put that out there because
It's so important.
I know I didn't have anything as bad as come on, McKenna. Get down.
This is mom life. Sonya and I were talking before we started about our kids. My kids are a little bit older. Mine are 9 and 11. And I actually have a funny story about this. When my daughter, who's now 11, I think she was 2. This was like right after I finished my cancer battle. I was still teaching at Penn State. COVID hit. And during COVID, she had to be a little bit older. Maybe she was 4. During COVID, I was teaching a class on Zoom and all my students started laughing. It was pretty late at night. Maybe it was like 9:30. They're all laughing. And I'm like, what are all these kids laughing about? Like, do I have a booger? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And I see her behind me. She had hopped out of her crib, came downstairs, hopped over a baby gate, and was just standing in her pajamas behind me while I was lecturing a class. I was like, all right, guys, good night. I hope you're all good.
Yeah.
Being a mom and being a worker is hard, but it's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he definitely tends to pop in and out.
As children do.
I just let it roll.
Just let it roll. He's got to be a part of this. He's going to be my new shadow work person.
Yeah.
My cheerleader.
Yeah. I was thinking about before he jumped up there. I didn't have anything as bad as cancer, but I did have a torn ACL when I was in the Marine Corps. I was doing this obstacle course and I tore my ACL and I didn't want to get dropped from this course. So I was like, look, I'll do the rehab, whatever I need to do. And I didn't realize it was completely torn at the time. I just knew, what I had set my mind to. And so they kept me in the course and I ended up doing the rehab in like 4 weeks time and able to do the obstacle course and still like beat half of the guys with a knee brace on. But even the athletic trainer was like, I don't know how you're doing this because like I've seen pro football players have to get surgery.
Right. It shouldn't be possible. A torn ACL shouldn't be able to heal that fast.
Exactly. And so I was just like, I believe that strongly that I could do it. And so
yeah, there's a very specific process that everybody's familiar with. If you've ever watched a YouTube video where somebody gets hurt, or if you saw like an episode of Daniel Tosh's show, Tosh.0 back in the day, where it's like you watch someone skateboarding down a ramp and then they fall and they smash their face. you can feel
Mhm.
it a little bit. Like ooh,
Yeah.
it kind of hurts. Even though you're not going through it, there's something called mirror neurons. And when we experience other people going through something, it activates areas in the brain at a level that's like a dialed down version of what the person who's actually going through it is going through. It's our
Mhm.
empathy, it's our ability to send somebody else and just kind of feel tweaked by that thing. And our mirror neurons are part of how we can convince our brain that our manifestations are real. So if we believe that we're going to heal, or we're going to get a book deal, or we are going to get over cancer or walk again if we're
Mhm.
injured, all you have to do is believe it fully. You have
Mhm.
to see it, you have to feel it, you have to taste it, you have to touch it, you have to smell it. And when you have all these
Mhm.
different aspects, the brain can do that dialed up little version where it's not going to feel it at a 10, but it might feel it at a
Mhm.
4. And if it feels it at a 4, it starts creating neural pathways to replicate that until
Mhm.
eventually it takes a little time, but that thing does come to life. And that's how manifestation happens.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I love the that you have all the scientific explanations for it too, because I feel like I came into my spirituality through science because I was so like such a truth seeker. So I did study a lot of like psychology and neuroscience, and I followed Joe Dispenza for the longest time, who just talked all about the neural pathways and
Yeah, he's like a perfect gateway. Him and Gabby
yeah.
Bernstein are like the gateways in for so many people.
Yeah. Ikenna, come on now. What are you doing? I swear he
He's playing. He's having fun.
yeah,
Childhood.
he does he starts to get loud when I'm
Of course.
on the
That's what kids
phone
do.
or yeah. And so I know he just wants my attention.
Of course. Which is very age appropriate. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to.
All right. Where did I put? I don't even know where he put my phone. Okay.
Yep. So Joe Dispenza was the one who got you into this, who kind of opened the door for you and made you realize that this is a possibility, even something to consider.
Yeah. So Joe Dispenza was really the catalyst for my awakening. There was this meditation mantra, movement mantra. I just dove in, like it was like breath work, and I hadn't done any of that stuff previously. And I kind of just dove in and did it like 3 times a day, and it caused me to actually have this big spiritual awakening where for like 2 months I was in like this spiritual high where I was seeing so many synchronicities. I was seeing the connections of everyone. I was getting downloads of like speeches and visions of me speaking on stages. And so it was really, I don't know, it was just crazy. It's hard to explain to people because I literally was like seeing things from a higher perspective for those couple months. And then when I came back down from it, I realized I had to integrate, um, integrate, do the shadow work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called an
um,
awakening for a reason. And if people haven't gone through it, it's really hard to explain that experience to someone who's never
mhm.
been through it.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah, even my friends, it was crazy because during that time, everybody was acting different around me. It was like I was at that higher frequency for a while, for those couple of months. And I guess I had that taste of where I could be if I do the work, and so that led me to like find teachers and get help with the shadow work. And
Yeah.
I found this sacred geometry mentor, and her program was really awesome because it talks about like the root wounds, the false traits, and then who we're actually meant to be with our masculine and feminine energies.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff to be able to get into this space. And there's so many different avenues you can take, whether it's sacred geometry, shadow or kundalini, Reiki, shamanism. There's a
Mhm,
thousand pathways to entry. And really it's just up to what you feel called to. And for me,
mhm,
it wasn't even shadow work initially that got me into it. I started with kundalini yoga. And that opened up
Mm,
everything for me like a decade ago. But once it was open, it was like you can't really close that box. Like Pandora's box
mhm,
was wide open. And I'm glad that I found shadow work when I did, though honestly, I wish I
mhm,
would have found it a little bit sooner. It was creeping up on
mm,
me, just like the synchronicities of this is something
mhm.
I'm teaching about. I'm talking about it all the time. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. Okay. Next Korea. And it wasn't landing until it did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely have seen the different modalities, and even part of my human design is to like try a bunch of different things. I've done like the sound healing. I've done like a psilocybin journey.
As one
There's
does.
been a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love human design. Even that is its own pathway. But
Mhm.
that's very manifesting generator of me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually a generator, a peer generator.
That makes a lot of
So,
sense. And do you feel like
mhm.
you live by that design and it feels good when you're in alignment with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's so good.
And for the first time in a while, I definitely feel like after doing and the sacred geometry was really, it was really like shadow work what she was having me do. And I realized that it was pretty this it's like the same thing.
Anytime someone's
as
talking about wounds, that's shadow work. We can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's shadow
Mhm.
work. Anything trauma
Yeah.
based, anything unconscious that has to be brought up into your awareness, it's all shadow work. Psilocybin
Mhm.
is shadow work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely believe that that was what has really brought my energy forth, because I can literally feel now like along the way I've had the visions, and then I've had the fears and doubts and all these things popping up,
Yeah.
but now I finally feel like it's happening, like I don't have anything holding me back anymore.
And that is the beauty of shadow work. It's the ability to
Mhm.
kind of face these things head on so that it's like that thing from Home Alone. You know, when he goes down to the basement in Home Alone and he tells that evil looking furnace, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid
Yeah.
anymore. That's shadow work. Where when you confront those things and you take all their power away, what are they going to do
Yeah.
to you? There's nothing that can
Right.
be done, so nothing can stop you. There's nothing weighing you down and making you feel like you can't be exactly who you want to be. No holding back.
Yeah. Right. And it's really who we were meant to be, beneath all the conditioning anyway. So
Yep.
um
It's always a possibility. Like when you had that awakening and you saw all those different pathways of seeing yourself speaking on stages, you're not the only one. I've heard that from so many people. But
mhm.
how many of them will actually do it? It's such a small
Yeah.
number because if you don't do your shadow work, if you don't actually go and confront the things that are holding you back, you can have
Mhm.
that vision of yourself, but you're going to stop it over and over and you keep
Mhm.
coming up with reasons why you can't, whether it's a financial thing. Like I've been invited to
Mhm.
speak at events all over the world. And one of them, my first international event was Canada. And when I was invited to speak there, it was like, okay, we can pay you to come, but we can't pay for your travel. So you got to pay for your airline tickets. So I paid for my
Mhm.
tickets. And then there was a
Mhm.
massive storm flooding all the flights at that airport shut down. And I could have been like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. And I could have let that
Mhm.
take over me. I could have gotten flustered. No, I recorded myself doing the talk live and broadcasted it to Canada. That was my
Okay.
first ever one. We can always come up with a reason why. The universe will always test us
Mhm.
and give us curveballs and ways that things can get shut down. But we don't
Yeah.
have to let them actually shut us down. We can just see them for what they are and keep moving. Shadow work helps with that though, because there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree 100% with that. That's why I fully believe in that being one of the main things people should focus on,
Yeah.
if they want to get to their next level, their highest self.
Even something as simple as having a podcast. You have a podcast, so you know all the rhetoric that goes through your head when you're thinking about starting one. What if nobody
Mhm.
listens? What if it's not good? What if I don't know how to do show notes? What if I can't figure out how to do the recordings? What if I don't know
Mhm.
how to splice it up and put it onto social media? What if I'm not
Right.
good at it? Like whatever the things are, all those what
Mhm.
ifs come from underlying traumas that we've experienced
Mhm.
throughout our lifetime. Moments, usually in the first 7 years of life, but not always. Sometimes they can be from older years. But
Mhm.
things that have stopped us so
Mhm.
long and really halted our ability to move beyond it that we don't even realize what it is. So we just loop through them and we go, you know what? Like, I'll think about it tomorrow. I'm not even going to give it much mind now. And then we never do it. And until you do your
Yeah.
shadow work, you just keep looping.
Mhm. Yeah, and I definitely even realize how people can be judgmental of themselves. Like they'll listen to themselves and be like, "Oh, I don't
Yeah.
like how it
I
how
have
it came
mentorship
out."
clients. Yeah, at any given point, I always have mentorship clients. I love mentoring people. And one right now is terrified to put herself on video, but
Mhm.
she wants to have a really robust practice. And getting
Mhm.
clients sometimes involves letting them see your face. It's
Mhm.
scary, but you got to do it. And nobody is going to be as harsh of a judge of you as you are.
As you are, yeah, exactly. That was actually something I was telling. I have a friend, she does eyelashes, and her personality is literally why people come to her. And she's just so like bubbly and so uplifting to other women. And I'm like, you need to put yourself online. And she's like, well, I just, she's so critical on herself where she just doesn't do it. And I'm like, look, your personality is going to get more people to come if you just put yourself online.
Right. Think about how she's holding herself back from everything that she could be doing. She could get so big in her social media world that not only does she book out all of her own clients, that she has to hire more people to work under her because the caseload is so big. She could
Yeah.
become a teacher, an educator. Things could
Mm-hmm.
move so drastically, but that fear stops
Yeah.
most people. And that's the difference between the people who've done their shadow work versus the ones who have not. It's whether or
Yeah,
not
I
you're still
definitely agree with
continuing.
that.
Yeah. Are you letting the fear stop you or are you going for it anyway? And it doesn't mean there's an absence of fear. It just means that you can feel it, recognize it for what it is, and push past it.
Yeah, definitely. I've even found that I've come to the point where I'm actually in an emotional intelligence class right now too for my master's program, and I've learned to like dialogue with my shadows
Oh,
and
yeah.
befriend them. Like I don't even see them the same anymore.
One of the things I talk about in my book, Shadow Work, is your ability to speak to your shadow. You don't have to take the things that your brain tells you as fact. It's not facts. Everyone's
Mhm.
brain is so unique. How could they all be factual? You're just
Mhm.
talking to yourself based on your own past experiences. So talk back.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, and it might sound silly to some people to talk to yourself like that, but it really works. Like
We do it all day long. We don't even realize we're doing it. Even something as small as like singing our way through the kitchen when we're doing stuff, we're always being weird. So just embrace the
Mhm.
weird.
Right. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, just embrace the weird.
You have to embrace the weird. We're all really weird. I'm doing
Mhm.
dishes in the kitchen. I'm like, don't stop believing. My kids are like, Mom, can you not? And I'm like, well, then 6,
Yeah.
7. Like, can you not? We're all
Mhm.
weird, but we just have to let us be weird.
Right. And you even think back to when you're kids and like, everyone is weird as a kid until somebody is like, ew, don't do that. And then that's when it starts to, cover up and hide yourself. And
Yep. And I do think older generations were worse with that than younger ones. I've actually found, and this is shocking to me, I've found
Mhm.
that my children's cohorts are less
Mhm.
judgy of weird
Mhm.
than maybe my own cohort was. And I think the internet is making weird more acceptable because weird and
Okay. Yeah.
cringy gets you views, it gets you more attention. So those
Mhm.
behaviors that used to be like, ew, like, could you not? They stopped
Yeah.
being that,
Yeah.
or it seems that way.
I love it. I do think I had heard that the kids coming in now too are definitely different and more accepting of a lot of things that we weren't back then. But I could definitely see, especially my son too, just the difference. I mean, he's gonna have a whole different upbringing than I had anyway, too, because I've been
Yeah. Millennials are the first generation, I believe, that have experienced intense trauma repeatedly throughout their lives. And instead of taking that trauma out on the next generation, they're trying to heal it within themselves and be better for the generation that's following. So I think our kids, even something as little as like boys make a lot of noise. My son is constantly just like yipping. He's making noises, being weird. He's gross. Like he's just a boy. And if
Yeah.
my parents were raising him, it would have been like, stop and don't make those noises. That's unacceptable. We're out in public. You're not going to do it. Like, it just wouldn't be that. And now I'm looking back and I'm like right back to you, dude. It's just different.
Yeah.
There's more of an acceptance coming down. So I think because the kids
Mhm.
aren't getting bullied by their parents, they're not looking
Yeah.
to then bully their classmates. And the ones who are, it always makes me think about what's going on at home.
Right. You like, well, yeah, once you get this deep, it's like, people are projecting and the kids are acting out what's going on at home.
Hurt people hurt
Hey,
people.
don't touch that. Leave it alone. Get down. You know how to get down.
See, even the way that you just did that's so much more accepting than, say, the generations that came before would have been of a moment like that. We're like, hey, get down, safety and gentleness. And they'd be like, get off your ass, like, get up.
Yeah, no, that is true. Like, my parents wouldn't have let me get on the furniture like that. I just felt like if he climbs on things, I'm like, he's like, help me. And I'm like, no, you got up there, so you know how to get down.
You got to figure out how to get yourself down. This is safety for yourself to figure it out while mommy's watching. And I think my hope is that the next generation of kids, like the generation that's coming up right now, don't even really need shadow work. That's my hope.
Right. Yeah. No, that definitely would be amazing. And I do see how even when he did start out with, he actually had some breathing issues when he got sick, when me and his father were like fighting. And then when I left, it started to get better. Like energetically, I could tell it was me. And so once I was doing the work, it automatically healed what was going on in him.
Yeah. He wasn't being the stress bearer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how these things happen for us.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so, what was I going to say about? We were talking about kids. Yeah. So I do believe that this generation is definitely. It's a whole different, it's a whole different level. And I've seen how millennials have been that generation that's breaking the generational curses for a better world.
Yeah, there's always going to be things that happen. Like, stuff is going to happen that's out of control. Like a hurricane will hit or a kid will get hurt playing a sport. Like, there's always going to be things. But the hope is that it's not inflicted on by parents, by teachers, by coaches, by mentors. It's more environmental stuff and not internal stuff that gets them down.
Yeah.
A little bit of resilience is good. A little bit of grit is good, but we don't want it to be so overwhelming that we shut down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say too when you were mentioning that. There was actually, I was in the grocery store with my son. And this, my son is just always loud and I'm just used to it. So I just let it go. And this lady was like, oh, it's so amazing that you actually let him speak his truth, I guess, is that you want to call it.
Yeah. Because the generations that came past, even with boys, it was like, you're making too much noise. Stop. Everybody was overstimulated. Stop. And when boys are constantly told to stop, they become adults with a lot of rage. So it's good to not have that.
For sure.
Yeah. Boys channel a lot of their unreleased traumas into rage, and girls do it into sadness.
That makes sense. Because that's where I feel like his dad, he never was able to, learn, and he hasn't done any shadow work. So he has these anger issues sometimes, but.
And for Christmas, he needs to get himself one of these, a little shadow work deck. I can pull
Yeah,
apart
maybe
every day
all
and
of
work
us.
on it. How different would our world be if men were empowered and given the tools to actually look inwards,
Mhm.
even if it's just a little bit, to figure out something about themselves?
Yeah.
They've never been invited to explore themselves.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I do see more and more men waking up now, but it's still like not as many as the women.
Yeah, think about the way that we're socialized. Women, for all the ways in which life is harder for women, there's also one aspect where it's easier, which is that women are given the tools to handle their emotions, to understand them. They're given vocabulary to put words to name things that they're going through. So, on that front alone, there is a leg up. And that makes a
Mhm.
massive difference. When I was working as a therapist for all the years that I was, couples were part of my specialty. So I'd have men and
Mhm.
women come into my office and they'd be looking and go, tell us which one is right and which one is wrong. And obviously, that's never going to be the point of what therapy is. And I would never, I'll think it in my
Yeah.
head, but no, just kidding. But the thing that always astounded me and was surprising at first, but eventually became the norm was that men haven't been given the space to explain what's going on for them. It comes out, it bubbles over, but it's not
Mhm.
like, let's go inwards. Like, what do you feel?
Mhm.
Where is it in your body? When does that
Mhm.
happen to you before? Tell me about your childhood and what would
Mhm.
happen when you would feel these exact things. They didn't know where to start. Women do
Mhm.
because women are asked things like that. Even in our friendships, we go so much deeper than men do. With men, it's surface level.
Mhm.
Have a
That's
beer,
true. Yeah.
talk about ball. Yeah. And women are like,
Yeah, they
how
don't
are
talk to each
you?
other
Yeah. And can you
about their
imagine if the
feelings.
conversations with men were like, but how are you really? The world would be
Mhm.
so different.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Even in my master's program, there's a couple guys, but it's definitely more women than men. And even the guys, you could tell they're a little bit standoffish, but they're in there for a reason. So they're talking and
Yep.
getting
And they
things
may have
out.
even been the ones who've had to take on that role as kids for their families. So it feels more natural, but still, it wasn't
Mhm.
like they were the focus. It's like mom and dad were the focus, and they were the one who was trying to
Mhm.
alleviate those things for mom and dad.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I love that. So since I guess since you've been doing all the the book and all of that, have you had like a lot of clients, or do you just do like speaking engagements and things like that?
My schedule has changed massively since I first started. When I was working as a therapist, I had like 40 hours of therapy a week, plus all of my clients I was seeing on the side for like private shadow work sessions. And then I
Mhm.
had my students from doing my courses at Penn State. And then after cancer, I just tried to slow things down. So I saw the handful of therapy clients that I held on to. Other ones had kind of graduated out of it a little while before then, but were holding on just because I
Mhm.
shuffled some over to other therapists. I kept a small handful. And then when I really got deep into shadow work, I started doing group courses and I would take
Mhm.
groups of people through shadow work, 10 to 12 people at a time at its
Mhm.
biggest. Sometimes the group was as small as 4 people. It just kind of depended on what felt right. If the traumas
Mhm.
were really big and really heavy, I kept the groups tiny. If it was more of a lighter group, bigger was fine. And then the
Mhm.
book started coming out, the speaking engagements started rolling in, new publishing projects have emerged, and I don't have a lot of time for private clients anymore, unfortunately. I take some sporadically here
Mhm.
and there when it's someone I'm really excited to work with. I do a lot of
Mhm.
mentorship, but I do have group programs that I have that just run all the time that you can always go online and purchase. Like I
Mhm.
have Writers Academy where I teach people
Mhm.
all the ins and outs of the publishing industry that I learned the hard way backwards after I got into
Mhm.
it and was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I got into here by luck and they
Mhm.
expect you to know everything when you're an
Mhm.
author and no one teaches you what those things are. You're just supposed to know them. Sonia, I don't know if you
Mhm.
saw it. Did you see all the drama with Elise Myers a couple weeks ago? The TikToker?
Mhm. I don't think so. I don't think I've seen that yet.
All right, this is an example of this. Elise Myers is awesome. She's a really cool TikToker. She's got this gigantic platform because she's just like a real person. She's a mom. Her hair is not done. Her makeup's not done. She's cool as hell. And she just is herself. And she's weird. She embraces the weird, like we talked about. But she became an author because she's so influential that a publishing house gave her a book deal. And she did something that would be considered like a faux pas in the author world, where she actually started commenting on some reviews that didn't tag her about her book. People who were saying like, I love her, but this book wasn't for me. She was responding. And then her army of like 7 million followers were coming in and like putting their commentary on these videos of people who never expected to have that happen. So rules like that, where authors are supposed to leave reader spaces alone, or how do you write a book proposal? Because ChatGPT might be able to outline some of the things, but not all the things, not in the depth that you probably need to know. Or what matters more to publishing houses, your following or the quality of your work, and all these different aspects. I put them all into a course so people can purchase that name point. It's called Writers Academy. I have a lot of courses like that from all the knowledge that I gained over the years, all the things that I found to be extremely helpful. There's a shadow work course that I have called the Paradigm Shift. So you can start your shadow work journey today, especially after you read the book, if you want a little more guidance and someone to take you through it. But that's the majority of what I do now is writing and speaking and having those courses run themselves with clients who are looking for structure, but not necessarily someone over their shoulder going, here's what you need to do now. I do take those clients on every once in a while, just more sporadically when it feels right, especially for mentorships, which is where I feel like I have the most fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely, that's one of the things I did think about doing, is making just like a course that people could, as like recordings that I make.
Yeah, like a nice little evergreen course. People can take what they need, leave what they don't. But I feel like I have so much wisdom from all the things that have happened to me over the years, whether it's from publishing all the books and products I publish now, to the shadow work stuff itself, to how to create a conference, all these things that I've done many times over. Just figured, let me pull them out of my brain and put them down somewhere so that people can have those parameters and they don't have to search and figure things out the hard way like I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And then, so where can people find the courses, the book, all of that?
So the books are available in bookstores all over the country. You can walk into most Barnes and Nobles and find them there, but you can also look on Target.com, Walmart.com, Amazon, of course. But all of my stuff, everything me related, is at IAM Danielle Massi. I'm DanielleMassi.com. I'm Danielle Massi on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. Find me anywhere. It's all I am Danielle Massi. And the access always leads back. All roads lead back to my links page, where you can find all the stuff that I have going on: events, speaking engagements, publishing projects, links to grab anything that is that you want. And of course, you can always slide into my DMs. It does take me a little while to get back. I get a lot of DMs, but it's always me. So trust that eventually you will hear from me. And it's a great joy for me to be able to respond to people personally and get to know the people who are following me in any capacity.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, I don't want to hold you too long.
Well, I can't hold you too long. You promised your son you're taking him to the park.
Yeah, I know. That's what he's waiting for.
I know it.
Throwing things all over the place until then.
Until you get to the park, and then he's going to throw things there, but it's outside, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I do. I've been asking the closing wisdom question to everyone, and that question is usually just, if you were to say that you found one truth about our divinity, what would that truth be?
That the divinity is us. It's not outside of us. You don't have to search for it. You already have it.
Yeah, I love that. It's within us. It's funny because I actually had a therapist that I used to talk to before I got into this spiritual side of things. And I was like, I don't know what you believe in. And he was like, well, I really believe in spirituality, just being like knowing yourself. And I was like, I love that, because that's really what it is like knowing, getting to know yourself more than anyone or anything else.
And when you know yourself so deeply, you know God or universe or spirit or everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on today. And it's been a pleasure having you.
It's always fun talking to you, Sonya. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. So we will end it right there. And you guys have a great rest of your day.